purpose of my speech is to persuade and inform my audience that grades and tests can't measure students' intelligence and performance. Grades are not a measure of a person's intelligence, but a measurement of how well a person can listen and retain information. I will be discussing how grades and tests do not determine one's intellectual capacity, how many students do not test well, and how schools should test the ability of all students. Point 1. Grades and tests do not determine one's intellectual capacity. At the end of the day, scores from tests and quizzes won't show how well a student will be able to survive when they are on their own, which should be the most important subject students learn. Grades and tests show how well a student can listen and retain information. According to a response to the question, are school grades an accurate marker of intelligence? On debate.org, grades are indeed an accurate marker of intelligence, but only to a certain point, meaning that there is only so much information that can be conveyed about a person based on what letter grade they received in a certain class. This brings me to point 2. Many students do not perform as well as they should when it comes to tests. The SAT and ACT are a big factor that helps you get into college. Students could have a 4.0 GPA, but might get nervous when it comes to big tests and not perform as well as they could. In the article, Good News for Poor Test Takers, I found on thecollegesolution.com, research that's being described as a landmark study was released showing that high school students with strong grades and lower standardized ACT and SAT scores do as well in college as those who perform better on the standardized tests. Some students perform better when they are able to explain what they have learned, and written tests do not allow them to show what they know. This brings me to my last point. Schools should allow students to test to their ability. In a classroom, there are about 25 to 30 kids. Not all of those kids will learn and perform the same. There will be students who learn through visual, kinesthetic, oral, and tactical ways. Here is an example I found in the article, Analyzing the Broken American Education System, on quietmike.org. If you ask a monkey and a fish to climb a tree, you're only testing the monkey's ability and leaving the fish to automatically fail. Asking a student who performs better kinesthetically and a student who performs better visually to take a visual test is setting the kinesthetic student up for failure already. Each student will have their style of learning and performing, and teachers should be able to teach those kids the way that they learn best. In conclusion, everybody is different. Some people can retain information and memorize it. Tests only determine whether if one can memorize the information given by the teacher to write it all down within a time limit. Grades only determine the average of all tests added up together. It does not dictate a person's IQ or wisdom. Schools should test to the ability of all students due to the fact that everyone has different strengths and weaknesses.